Okay, so now we see in reasoning, we're going to end up with 4 dimensions of knowledge. This is interlacing once again with reality, okay, with a known concept of reality being based upon 4 dimensions, and that being the length of something, the width of something, and then the overall height of something, and then time, of which it all exists in. So the 4 dimensions in a mathematical equational sense are based upon length, width, height, and time. And I gave the symbol for the circle because that's a cycle which represents time quite well. So these fulfill the 4 dimensions as they are translated into knowledge. One-dimensional path of travel being that through religion. Another dimensional path of travel being that through the arts. Another dimensional path of travel being that through science, and still another dimensional path of travel through that of mathematics. Now, all of these are interrelated and work to explain or reveal the other, but because of the division, they've been grouped into 2 halves. Okay, now this is where our 44 begins to take scope. This is 1/2 of the 44, these 4 groups, and at the same time, they're the other half of the 44. So these 4 groups are the 44 on one side, okay, and we're going to get to a better explanation of it. And then they represent the other 44 also on this side. This side represents one eye, and this side represents one eye. So we have that division, and the division is that we have created 2 separate perceptions of reality. So we have 2 separate groups or identities of people that entertain 2 completely different ideologies. And that's a separation, and that destroys the brotherhood, because no longer are we living under the same house of knowledge. This house of knowledge has been divided, and then Christ simply says, any house or kingdom, every house, every kingdom divided against itself is going to fall to certain desolation. So that is quite completely, it is the 44. Now there are many fractaled out versions of the understanding, but what I always give you is the root, and the root is always going to come from the beginning. The ending and the beginning are always interrelated. They occupy the same space. So as we see, we're going to relate this directly from the root, and if we do, we're going to get the truth. So that's what the 44 is. The 44 now is that it was created to create separation. Now, some of you might not be familiar with what this is. This is the spider's web. This is the fractal equation. This is the reality matrix that we are all contained in. And this was absolutely revealed to me by the Spirit of Truth. I had no idea what I was really doing. I knew what I was trying to do, but I still have not completely got the full revelation of what I have in front of me right now. But it keeps on expanding into everything that I've talked about, and you're going to see how it is absolutely 100% connected. This thing tells so much. It's incredible. The first thing it's going to show is at Eden, the symbol for the apple is where the division took place, and we have the 2 hemispheres of the brain being related. Science and math, left hemisphere. Then we have religion and arts, right hemisphere. At this time right now, we see which one is on top and which one is flipped upside down, which creates an equational path based upon these numbers. These individual segments are the individual ages that we have passed through this equational input, which always creates the same equational output, which is translated as the material-based fact. This material-based fact is translated as material merchandise, which is what deceives everybody by their eyes. And we can talk about quantity and quality and value in a few and see that mathematical deduction of the same thing, explain it in the same way. I'll be back.